All right, everyone, welcome back to the Focused Enterprises podcast. I was just thinking the other day, my inbox, my Slack, the endless tabs open on my browser, it all just feels like a constant battle for my attention. And it's not just me, right? It feels like the entire business world is grappling with this digital overwhelm.
Oh, absolutely, Oscar. It's not just a personal struggle anymore. It's become a systemic issue within businesses. We're all wired to be always on, always available, and it's frankly exhausting. I mean, how many times have you jumped between a crucial task and a notification that ended up being completely unimportant?
Exactly. And that's precisely why I think digital minimalism, which often starts as a personal philosophy, is rapidly evolving into a strategic business movement. It's about being intentional with our tech rather than letting our tech dictate our day. For businesses, that translates to reclaiming focus, boosting productivity, and frankly, sanity.
I couldn't agree more, Ruby. When we talk about digital minimalism, it's not about ditching technology entirely. It's about leveraging technology for its profound benefits while consciously stripping away the distractions, the noise, the things that actively detract from our goals. In a business context, that means cutting through the digital clutter that impedes deep work and strategic thinking.
That's a fantastic point, Ethan. It's not Luddism, it's deliberate use. So what does this actually look like when we apply it to, say, a mid-sized marketing firm or a tech startup? Are we talking about mandated no email Fridays or something more fundamental?
It can be both, honestly. On a macro level, it's about auditing the tools and platforms a company uses. Do we really need 5 different communication apps? Are we subscribing to every SaaS tool that promises a silver bullet? Many companies, especially smaller ones, accumulate digital tools without truly evaluating their necessity or their impact on focus.
Think of it like decluttering your office, but for your digital workspace. You wouldn't keep 5 staplers if one works perfectly fine, yet we do that all the time with software and apps. A digital minimalist approach would encourage businesses to consolidate, simplify, and choose tools that truly serve a specific, high-value purpose rather than adding more noise.
And the immediate payoff for that is huge. Less software means less maintenance, fewer onboarding headaches, and a reduced learning curve for new employees. But more importantly, it means fewer places for information to get lost and fewer points of distraction. Streamlining your digital toolkit is foundational.
So, beyond the tools, what about the actual behaviors? Because even with a lean tech stack, you can still fall into old habits, right? The constant checking, the notifications.
That's where the cultural shift comes in. Businesses can encourage practices like scheduled deep work blocks where notifications are off and everyone commits to focused tasks, or establishing clear communication protocols, when to use email, when to use chat, and when to pick up the phone. It's about respecting each other's attention.
I actually saw a company implementing focus hours every morning. For 2 hours, no internal meetings, no Slack messages unless it's an absolute emergency. The impact on productivity was immediate and significant. People felt they could finally tackle complex problems without constant interruption.
That's brilliant, and it also fosters a culture of trust. It tells employees, we trust you to manage your time and focus on what matters. Instead of expecting instant replies at all hours, which is a major source of burnout, it sets healthy boundaries. That kind of psychological safety is invaluable.
Boundaries. That's the key word. We often hear about work-life balance, but I think digital minimalism in business is about work-attention balance. How do we ensure our employees aren't constantly context switching, draining their mental energy?
Precisely. Context switching is a productivity killer. Studies show it can take 20 minutes to fully refocus after an interruption. If you're getting interrupted every few minutes by a notification, you're essentially never doing deep, meaningful work. For businesses, that means projects take longer, quality suffers, and innovation stagnates.
And think about decision-making. When your brain is constantly scattered, it's harder to make well-thought-out, strategic decisions. Digital minimalism encourages slower, more deliberate thinking, which is crucial for leaders and employees alike.
It also plays into employee retention, I believe. Employees who feel overwhelmed and burnt out by the constant digital demands are more likely to look elsewhere. A company that actively supports a calmer, more focused work environment is going to be more attractive to top talent.
That's a powerful recruitment and retention tool right there. But let's be real, implementing this isn't always easy. What are some of the biggest challenges businesses face when trying to adopt a more minimalist digital approach?
One huge challenge is the fear of missing out, or FOMO, both individually and institutionally. Leaders might worry they'll miss a crucial market trend if they're not constantly monitoring every news feed. Employees might feel pressured to respond immediately to every message to show their dedication.
And the inertia of established habits, right? People are used to having multiple screens, constantly checking their phones, and an overflowing inbox. Changing those deeply ingrained behaviors requires a lot of discipline and strong leadership to model the new norms.
There's also the misconception that more tools equal more productivity. Many companies are sold on the idea that adding another AI-powered widget will solve all their problems. It often just adds another layer of complexity and distraction. The default is often add, not subtract.
So true. It's like we've been conditioned to believe that busyness equals effectiveness. How can leaders effectively communicate the why behind this shift to their teams, especially to those who might be resistant?
It starts with clear communication about the benefits: better focus, less stress, higher quality work, and importantly, leading by example. If the CEO is sending emails at 11 p.m. and expecting immediate replies, it sends a mixed message, no matter what policies are in place.
Absolutely. It needs to be a top-down initiative, but also with bottom-up involvement. Encourage teams to experiment with different approaches. Maybe one team tries a no internal email day, another tries a digital detox afternoon. Share successes and learn from what works.
Gamification could even play a role. Challenge teams to reduce their digital footprint over a month and measure the impact on project completion or perceived stress levels. Make it a positive, empowering change, not a restrictive one.
I love that idea, Ethan. Making it an experiment, a journey, rather than a rigid set of rules. It sounds like this really touches on employee well-being, which is such a critical topic these days. How does digital minimalism contribute to a healthier work environment?
It directly combats burnout. Constant notifications, the pressure to respond immediately, the blurring lines between work and personal life because your phone is always pinging, these are all major contributors to stress and mental fatigue. By creating clearer boundaries and encouraging focused work, you're giving people their mental space back.
And it fosters deeper connections, believe it or not. When you're not constantly looking at your phone during a meeting or a team lunch, you're more present. That presence builds rapport and strengthens team dynamics, which is vital for collaboration.
It also helps with creativity. A mind that's constantly bombarded with inputs has less room for original thought. By stepping back from the digital noise, you create space for reflection, for new ideas to emerge, which is invaluable for any business trying to innovate.
So it's not just about doing tasks more efficiently, it's about doing better work, more creative, more strategic, less error-prone work. It's a fundamental shift in how we approach our daily output.
Exactly. Think about quality over quantity. Instead of sending out 10 half-baked emails, you send 3 well-researched, impactful ones. It's about being effective, not just busy.
I often think about the concept of digital Sabbath or unplugged weekends. Imagine if companies encouraged their employees to truly disconnect during their off hours, without the guilt of checking emails or Slack. The rejuvenation would be incredible, leading to more engaged and productive weeks.
And that's a policy decision, isn't it? It requires leadership to say, we value your rest and recovery. It's about setting expectations and normalizing healthy boundaries, rather than perpetuating the always-on myth. That's a huge step towards making digital minimalism a core business value.
It sounds like we're talking about a paradigm shift. Is this just another fleeting trend, or do you think digital minimalism is here to stay as a fundamental principle for successful businesses?
I truly believe it's a fundamental shift. The initial wave of digital adoption was about getting everything online as fast as possible. Now we're entering a maturity phase where we're realizing the downsides of unbridled digital use. Businesses that don't adapt to this realization will struggle with employee burnout and decreased innovation.
It feels inevitable, doesn't it? As the digital landscape becomes even more crowded with AI tools, VR, and whatever comes next, the ability to focus and prioritize will become an even greater competitive advantage. Digital minimalism is essentially focus optimization.
And it's also about a more human-centric approach to business. We've spent decades optimizing processes, but often forgetting the human element. Digital minimalism puts well-being, deep work, and intentionality back at the forefront, which ultimately benefits the business through happier, more productive, and more innovative teams.
So, for any business listening, if you're feeling that digital overwhelm, if your teams are stretched thin, maybe it's time to step back and ask, are our digital tools serving us, or are we serving them? Is it time for a digital detox for the entire enterprise?
Start small, pick one area, maybe internal meetings or email response times, and try to implement one minimalist principle. Measure the difference. You might be surprised by the ripple effect.
And remember, it's not about doing less, it's about doing more of what truly matters, with less distraction and more intention. That's the core message of digital minimalism for business.
It's about getting back to what makes businesses truly thrive: clear thinking, focused effort, and a healthy, engaged workforce. That's the sustainable path forward.
Fantastic insights, everyone. I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on about how digital minimalism isn't just a personal choice, but a powerful strategy for any forward-thinking business. Thanks for joining us on The Focused Enterprise. We'll catch you next time.